Naomi, hold on. You're running 7th, Gareth. Well done. Hello. So, episode 40, Cookies Rambles. I'd say this week's been really exciting, but it's been like the come down week, the post marathon blues and all that sort of stuff, but with a little bit of a twist. So as we know, and if you want to watch it, last week's video in Berlin didn't quite get what I wanted out the Berlin Marathon, so I'd like to say I've jumped straight back on the horse. Legs have felt pretty much okay, so ready to swing at it. I've got 2 weeks now, well 2 weeks today until the Yorkshire Marathon, so that were always going to be my backup. Yorkshire's a favourite and I've run every Yorkshire Marathon, classed as an ever present, and it's the 10th anniversary year from when it started, but not the 10th running because we missed one in 2020 due to COVID, but it's the 10th anniversary year, so looking forward to that. So back on the horse and into swinger training. So it has been exciting, but it's been half recovery and then a little bit of touring of Berlin, and then it's been getting the legs back for a I did a quite sharp parkrun yesterday as well at Hull. So episode 40 about to get underway. So kicked off Monday, started, it was day after marathon, felt okay. Me and Naomi wanted to go and do some sightseeing around Berlin, so we did it running. That's what we know best. So we jogged through Tiergarten, stopped at pretty much every statue that we saw or big monument thing, and then ended up getting some food in a nice little cafe as well over near Berlin Zoo, and then jogged back as well after. I ended up doing about 10 mile. Naomi did about 8, and then that was that. So it was quite a good sightseeing excuse, and got us out and around, out and about around Berlin. It was, because we used the zone 2 legs, it was like close to the hotel as well, so that was quite good. And then Tuesday, so we were flying back from Berlin Tuesday. We flew back around 4 o'clock, half 4, something like that. So we had time to get up in the morning and go for a run as well. So Naomi went and wanted to do a session around Tempelhof Airfield because she knows it and she knows the route and she knows it's quite flat, pretty much like all of Berlin. So we jogged down there 2 mile together, and then I ran around the airfield just at a nice and easy pace, and then Naomi did a session, and then we jogged back together. Ended up being that as total volume we're exactly the same as each other anyway. So I did 10.5 mile, and I think she did about 10.5 mile as well, and then went back to the hotel, checked out, went to a Syrian restaurant that we'd been to 3 times whilst we were in Berlin, and now Naomi's obsessed and wants to find a Syrian restaurant in the UK as well. It's basically just couscous and beans and hummus and all that sort of stuff, so it's a cross between like Greek and a little bit, what else could I liken it to? Yeah, just Greek. But yeah, it was really nice. So yeah, we're looking for something in the UK, and it vegan as well. We aren't vegan, but we mindfully sometimes choose vegan products and vegan meals, so yeah, that's quite cool. And then back on home turf Wednesday. So as soon as we landed, I text Kai and I said, jogging in the morning, pal? And you're like, yeah. So straight away I went out Wednesday morning, went with Kai, did a 6 mile with him because he did a session Tuesday night with the speed gang, and I ended up doing 10, and then in the evening went out and did 5 mile, and it was pitch black, like proper dark, so it felt like my first dark run in what has been months. So yeah, enjoyed it, but it means that winter's coming now, so getting ready to wrap up warming all my runs. However, we'll talk about that later in the video, what happened this morning on my run. So then that was 15 mile for Wednesday, and then Thursday morning I gave Dave Hanks a bit of banter on a, well, he gave me some banter and I gave him some back on a Wednesday night, because he named it Wilthorpe Running Club, because he ran around Wilthorpe with a couple of other lads. Well, Wilthorpe's my patch, so I went out with Kai Thursday morning and I called it Wilthorpe Jogging Club on Strava. So ended up doing 8 mile, and then in the evening ended up running with Hanks as well and did 7 mile with him. He was leading the route the complete entire way, so he was setting the pace, so I ended up doing about 7-10 minute miles. He did 6 mile, I did 7, and it goes to show as well, because actually my last mile when he disappeared I actually slowed down, so I think it is all Dave's fault, to be honest. And then Friday morning, my single run, keeping it single, keeping it short, just did 7 mile, because I woke up a little bit on Friday and we're just a bit achy and a bit tired, so that's where I've been mindful and listened to the body. So just backed off, did 7 mile on Friday, and kept it a single. We drove through to Naomi's parents, and that's where we are now, because it's all fields in the background, look. So drove through to Naomi's parents Friday night as well, and we picked up a mattress from IKEA on the way, chucked it back at the car, we've drove it all the way here, and then we've slept on an old mattress at Naomi's parents. So it's a bit painful because we've got a brand new mattress in the back of the car, but it's for home anyway. And then Saturday morning, woke up, Hull Parkrun on the cards, and as always when I go to Hull I always seek and sneeze and get a fast time there, because it is quite a pretty sharp course. I'd say it's the fastest course I've done, and I've done I've done York, I've done Long Eaton, I've done some hillier courses, and it's one of the fastest that I've done in terms of a park run. So if you want a fast time, get to Hull. So end up running 16:18. I ran a couple of miles beforehand, and then on the start line set off, there a young lad in football shorts and a football top. He sprinted out in front, and I think I ran the first 400 metres, quickest I've ever done, and then got onto the back straight and picked him off. And then there were a young lad who found out after he's 15 years old, and he took the lead, and then I overtook him, and he sat in behind for a little bit, and then on the last lap his dad shouted to him, "You've got him, you've got him." And I know parkrun's not a race, but I'd led it for the full way, so I won't let him have it today. So ended up sprinting out in front, and well, I was already out in front, and then he got carried a little bit over the line as well, so it gave him a kick as well. He PB'd by about 15 seconds I think, so he did all right. And a week after a marathon I didn't do too bad. But parkrun's not a race, it is a run. You just get out of it what you put into it, and what you want to get out of it as well. And then afterwards I ran back up to Kingswood, because we've come away this weekend and I forgot my boxers, so we had to go to TK Maxx so I could buy some new boxers. And then in the afternoon I sat down on the sofa all day at Naomi's parents, and then I went out and did 5k, and Naomi went out on the bike eventually. And then this morning woke up and it was humid, like proper humid. So gone out 15 mile, all I've done is sweat and like drip from everywhere, and I think I've lost more water than what I've put into my body over the last week. So today's just going to be a case of rehydrating, because of the amount of water that I've lost on the run. But yeah, I ended up taking my top off, and it's October, because it was that humid, and my top was just sticking to me and it felt awful. So I thought the best case would just be to take my top off and run on the main road from Beverley to Hornsey with my top off. So yeah, even though it is into the depths of autumn now, Cookie's running around naked. So yeah, I've reached new levels. Usually just save that stuff for August and July. So yeah, had a decent week. I've done about, let's have a look, 87 mile. So yeah, not done bad in terms of running and all that sort of stuff. And it don't lead me on to me, because it's completely random and unrelated to, well, it's not unrelated, it's athletics. But after Berlin last week, it was quite well known that the women's marathon world record was set at Berlin. So she ran 2:11:53, which yeah is unbelievably fast time. Tigist Asefa probably butchered the name there. So Asefa ran, she's Ethiopian, 2:11:53 in a pair of Adidas Pro Evo shoes, which if you wanted to buy them, they're 400 quid. But if you do go to buy them, you've got to be entered into a prize draw which is now expired, so that you have a chance to buy them. So there's two things that's miffed me off in world of athletics and running and all that sort of stuff. So World Athletics a few years ago released this like paper on running shoes and making running shoes like available to all, so people can't race in prototypes and all that sort of stuff. But then it's been crept back in, and it probably was already wrote into all that stuff anyway, but just not public knowledge, that athletes and pro athletes can wear prototypes in races. So like prototype shoes that aren't available to the mass like general public. So Kipchoge had a pair of Alpha Flies on V3s that aren't even available to buy yet at Berlin, and then this Asefa had some Pro Evo Adidas shoes on that also aren't available to buy, and there's only 400 or 500 of them being released to the general public at the minute, and they are 400 quid, which isn't like readily available because not everyone's got 400 quid they want to spend on shoes. And when the Alpha Flies, Vapor Flies, Next Percents, 4%, when they first ever came out, me personally I had to morally question myself whether I put them on my feet. Yeah, now we're at London Marathon 2019, and I stood on the start line, and Manchester Marathon were the same in 2019. I was stood on the start line and I had my old Adidas Adizero 4s or 5s on, or whatever they were at the time, and they were meant to be revolutionary in terms of the boost qualities and all that sort of stuff, but really it was just an Eva sole that were like paper thin. And I was stood there on the start line, I'm looking around me, and everyone had these orange 4% on, the Flyknit version, and I had a pair at home. I had them under the bed, but morally I couldn't bring myself to wear them because they're meant to give you this 4% improvement in running economy and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it came to it, like for me the question was, if you can't beat them, join them. And then it was later in the year I ran 2:26:48 at Manchester that year, and then later in the year I ran Yorkshire Marathon in 2:25:02, and I had my pink Next Percents on. But then the 2:26:48 was done in my Adios 4s or 5s, which were just boost with no carbon plate or anything like that. But yeah, my feet used to be an absolute mess when I used to run. And yeah, there's benefits to using super shoes and really good decent trainers and all that sort of stuff. I've run races with safety pins in my shoes, which isn't smart, and it don't give you any benefit whatsoever. But as soon as you go from stuff like that to then these big Bobby Dazzlers that are high stack with carbon fibre plates in and spring loaded and all that sort of stuff, like unbelievable. But yeah, my rant is like the shoes that elite athletes had on their feet, like they're not readily available, and it doesn't seem right that people can access that, and it just makes the gap bigger between your everyday runner that's grinding out their own miles and their own training and doing it amongst their own jobs, to then the people that can do it full time as well, and lucky enough to be in that position. Yes, they have got talent, if you believe in that, to get them there, but yeah, it's just a little bit, it makes you not trust top end athletics as much as what you see, which leads me on to my next thought. I think 17 out of the top 20 at Berlin were from Ethiopia or Kenya, which yeah, it raises flags, red flags, and it's a sometimes unspoken subject in the athletics world. But Asefa, for example, she set a world record, but she set 2 back-to-back half marathon PBs in doing so, and these aren't like soft PBs, these are PBs like by over 2 minutes per half marathon. I think a previous half was like 67 minutes, so she's done really 2 65-minute half marathons back-to-back, or 66-minute half marathons to get what she got. So yeah, it kind of raises a little bit of an eyebrow or two in terms of the quality that can be pushed out. Yes, they have got the nature and the nurture in terms of their upbringing and climate and hills and all that sort of stuff as well, but yeah, it kind of makes you not trust top-end athletics, put it that way. But yeah, I'm much more interested in like my mates, the people I know, the people around me, the people that I share tracks with, roads with, day in day out, and how they succeed as well, and getting their PBs out of it. And that's kind of what I do it for and what I look towards. And even though I am a sportsman, I'm not a big fan anyway of watching sport. I'm more a big fan of taking part in sport, and when I'm taking part of it in it, that's what interests me the most. So yeah, it depends what you do it for, but yeah, that's Cookie's little rant over. Cookie's Rambles episode 40 boxed off. 2 weeks out from Yorkshire Marathon. Legs, I'd say, are returning from Berlin. The week before Berlin I ran 16:20 at Hull, and yesterday I ran 16:18, so I'm taking that as a sign of good things. But then this morning's run in the humidity, I think it's 92% humidity today. Yeah, this morning's run in the humidity hasn't taught me too well, but yes, you just take the rough with the smooth and get up when you've been knocked down a little bit. And running is a beautiful sport, really. You just got to put one foot in front of the other as quick as you can. So yeah, cheers for listening. Reflection on Berlin is what I need to be doing is racing a little bit more, I think. So after Yorkshire, going to start looking at getting some more racing in my diary. So a little bit like what Cookie of old used to do, where I used to race a little bit more than once a month. So yeah, going to start looking for some 10Ks to build into in my swing for my marathon in spring next year. So getting some more 10Ks and halves on the calendar and all that sort of stuff. We have been looking at Barcelona half as well, which is February 11th, so there's a few of us going over to do it. So I think I'm going to get that one ticked off and get another abroad event underway as well. It's something good to target towards, and it's a nice little weekend away at times. So yeah, going to start looking at racing more and getting the legs used to running fast. So yeah, cheers for listening, and I'll see you next week on Cookie's Rambles.